everybody. Welcome back to the Creative Collision Podcast. This is Saeed here.
What's going on? I'm Will.
With Mike. Or make sure you're talking into the mic.
Oh, that's right. I forgot we got the mics now.
We got two mics. We got two mics
now,
yeah. Thank you guys for joining us. Obviously, a lot going on in America right now. We're going to talk about George Floyd protest and just the issues of systematic racism and police brutality. And we're also going live. We're on live on Instagram right now. We'll be live for the first part of this podcast. So apologize if this podcast, when you listen to the audio version of this, if it's not as smooth as it normally is, because we'll be possibly answering questions from people on the live stream as well. So
what's going on right now? We got two people in. We got BSB Goat. We got Eddie.
My friend, my boy on? Eddie G. Yeah, man. So let's get into it. I want to ask you first, Will.
Well, before I get started, I just want to let everybody know. I mean, this is a very high emotional topic. A lot of us may have a lot to say, and some of us may have things we want to say, but don't know how, or may be scared to speak on it. We really want to use this live right now just for that. It's open discussion. If you feel you have something to say and an opinion on a topic, no matter how controversial it may be, go ahead and say what you got to say. And let's just use that for that. Let's use this for conversation regarding, this incident, and
this will be like a Q&A. It can be like
see where we can
people want to speak their mind, speak their thoughts, just talk about what they feel, what could be done, just share their opinions, man. And we're not here to just criticize anybody. We can have honest conversation about things, depending on how you feel, and we can have a good conversation, and hopefully lead to somewhere where we're making some sort of progress or
understanding
as one. That's what I wanted to just throw it out to you and talk about your first reactions, maybe your first initial thoughts at the time of the murder, when it first happened, what your first thoughts of what you felt like, what went through your head when you first saw the videotape of George Floyd, and with his knee, with the cop's knee on his neck for 9 minutes, and what your thoughts on that and everything that's transpired after that.
All right, for me, man, cause these situations like this, I felt like were just continuously to repeat itself. And I remember really, reigniting that this got to change, back up, really reigniting it when it came to Trayvon Martin. And then I feel like we would always see a dozen where it happens to, and then a protest happens, then we go quiet again.
Yeah.
And so for me, I was I wasn't sure if an incident like this was gonna raise awareness again. Was gonna get everybody in that mode, look at what's still going on. We gotta stop. We gotta still be vigilant, regarding to protesting and trying to stop police brutality. I wasn't sure if this video wasn't gonna actually take it to that point, and so for me, I honestly was kind of numb to it.
Yeah.
I kind of just because of course it brings up these angry emotions,
Yeah.
But in regards to me initially, off the jump, speaking up on it and whatnot, it took me looking at everybody else's anger and seeing how much it's affecting them, and seeing that it's actually stirring emotion in people, for me to be I can't be numb to this. I gotta stop being. I gotta feel this. I can't. I can't look at this as another situation that's about to go unanswered. I gotta I gotta feel what it is that let that express itself. That anger you feel, that deep down anxiety you feel when you see this, and ingest that you feel is never going to be answered. You got to actually allow yourself to feel it and express it. And the more I did that, like the more like I feel like everything just started coming back to me. You know, like just the anger, just all the injustices, and how like it keeps repeating itself. And it's like we have a situation like let's say Trayvon Martin to start with, you know, but then like and then it dies down, and I was like, right now we're in a pandemic, like something that's gonna go down in U.S. history. You know, like this is something we haven't experienced as a nation for a cool while. You're cool. This has to be
I'll
seen.
go live on mine too in a second.
Go ahead. Yeah, this has to be seen and recorded and heard during this time, because this is a pivotal time in our nation's history. And then like when I seen like protesters actually, you know, setting the police precinct on fire, that's how I knew like, oh, this is something here. You know, this could be. Because I honestly I still don't know if this is the tip of the iceberg, because like I just don't want us all to go quiet again, you know, until the next 6 or 12 who die, and then all of a sudden we're back and fired up about it, you know, like. But I just feel like right now is going to be the moment for I'm hoping for more than half an inch, you know. I'm hoping for a full inch forward at least, you know. Like I don't you know, I don't want a half a step. I want a whole step forward into ending this continued pattern of racism. And yeah, like for me, so I guess for me, just in the beginning I was like numb to it, but then like it took me about a day or two to adjust to it and then actually just get like fucking like yeah, this is what I'm saying. Like this shit can't keep happening. Like we can't go quiet on it until it's somebody that we know directly who's on that in that position, you know, with the knee on their neck, you know, like. We have to like let our voices be heard. We can't go silent on it, because like the ones who came before us in the civil rights movement and all that, who are marching before us and putting their bodies on the line before us, they didn't have an opportunity to protect their peace and go quiet and ease their mind from it. You know, they had to look at it and face it head on every day. Like every day they had to see how, like, you know, they're gonna be this can be their last day, you know, walking in this nation. And they didn't get a break from that. They didn't get the chance to go numb from that, you know, like they had to face that every day. So it's like, as long as it's still happening, I felt like I couldn't give, you know, myself that right to, let me be numb to it for a while, you know what I'm saying? Because it's too much like to take to like see all the time. But then it's like, nah, like that's how it keeps happening. When the moment you feel like you need to step away from it, you know, that's when it keeps on continuing. Like you got to keep facing and fighting it until it's done, until you stop it completely, you know. And sometimes that's just your sacrifice that you got to make in your time, and it's all for the next generation, you know. It's also that way. Like I have 3 little nephews, you know. It's also for like when they get older, they don't have to go through that experience of always having high anxiety when they're interacting with a cop and not knowing, like, you know, what's going to happen, how they're going to be, you know, how they're going to be treated, and then just like, you know, or not even being in that position period to where like this doesn't bring any type of change, and give it that time. Now I'm watching a viral video of a knee on their neck, you know, them like, fuck, man, that shit, I don't know, man.
I mean, feel that.
My bad, y'all.
Nah, you're good. Why do you think this time around it kind of became what it became? Because, you know, like you mentioned, this has been going on for a long time. There's a lot of, ever since, like, you know, people started having camera phones, you know, and everybody had like a, you know, an iPhone in their pocket to record a video. And it's going back to Trayvon Martin was already 2012, you know, that's 8 years ago already. And, you know, we've like Eric Garner, Michael Brown, countless murders of black people recorded on video, you know, by police. But why do you think this one in particular? I mean, I have some thoughts about why he did too, but I'm gonna ask you, like, why do you think this murder was like got the reaction it got from the country and just from people?
I mean, I wasn't expecting it to get this reaction though. Like, I'm saying, like, when I first saw it myself, I'm thinking like, oh, this is gonna be another video where, like, you know, people don't fucking, it's not going to be the one that's going to stir things up, you know.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like I wasn't expecting this type of reaction from it. I think though Trevor Noah was saying it best when he was talking about the domino effect that led to it. You know, with the whole actually seeing what we mean by structural racism and systematic racism. With what's her name? But Cooper.
Yeah.
And just about how, like, you know, she basically was gonna use the police as a weapon, a tool to my bad.
No, I'm just replying to this.
Yeah, I was seeing the replies too, and I was like, what the fuck? Well, yeah, whatever. Yeah, but how, like, basically she was using the police as a tool, you know, as a weapon against this black man, because she knew basically the relationship between blacks and police. They're on her side right off the jump, you know. Yeah. So no matter what happens after that, even if things do get proven him right, you know, there's gonna be some type of incident with him that's embarrassing. Whether he's in cuffs before that gets proven or whatever it is, you know, there's gonna be some type of incident. So it was like seeing that, and then seeing Ahmaud, who was shot for going jogging and thing. I think. Yeah. And then also, if you think about it, just us all being locked down in a pandemic where we have to look at this stuff, like we can't turn away from it, like we can't, it's clearly in our faces. There's nothing else going on, you know. So I don't know. I think it was just a combination of all that I guess really ignite. I can't tell you why for the next person, like for you or the next person over, why it ignited something in them, you know, to speak up on it, because we're seeing more and more people. More than ever, I feel like, speak up on this situation, you know? So I don't know what their reasoning was for, like, what it was, like, why was it this police brutality that was caught on camera that really took things this far for them, you know? But
yeah, I think there's a lot of hostility. I think it's a combination of a few things. People being quarantined and kind of being locked in their own, like, personal bubble where they can't really, you know, people haven't been able to go out, have fun, kind of relieves some stress. There's a lot of high tension already as it was, you know.
Yeah.
You talk about Aubrey's murder like in February. You know, that just happened. Mm-hmm. And then just the history of this going back.
What was her name? The paramedic. Because I thought that was another crazy. To me, that was another instance of, like, all right. So the officers that was involved in that, they're out here still policing protesters who are trying to protest against everything that they done. You know, like against their injustice. You know? And that's the crazy part to me. It's like these people still have power. They're still in authority. And if it wasn't for them being caught on camera and us making a noise about it, they'd still be out here doing what they're doing. Like, they don't get held accountable for the actions that they decide to do.
Yeah.
Fuck, my bad.
Well, Junior has... One, yeah, that's bad. Whatever.
Yeah, we had nobody on there.
Junior said that, well, because of the pandemic and they stereotyped in why it kind of escalated the way it did with this one. I think that's, you know, on point where the pandemic.
Yeah,
I said.
Yeah, me too. I definitely think the pandemic was really pivotal in the reason, again, this type of reaction, because not only is it black people who had already, like, built up tension from being locked down, but the other side as well. So those who are protesting who are the anti-protesters, pretty much, they're coming into this from the high anxiety and frustration that they have from being locked down from the pandemic. So I definitely think, this pandemic, wow. He left. All right. Yeah. I didn't think nobody's on this live, but no. Yeah.
And then Junior also said the way he was killed on camera, which I think, like, this one was the most, like, brutal, ruthless one caught on camera that we've seen. Yeah, man, like, just, you know, a knee to the neck, you know, and like, and this dude was unconscious for 3 minutes. And, you know, he kept his knee on him. Like, he had been dead, basically, and he still had his knee on him. Yeah. I think this one was a little bit more graphic and more, like, just a mass. That's just some fucked up shit. Even more so than some of the other ones too that have been caught on camera.
I wouldn't say it was more graphic though, because we seen I think it was Eric Garner who got shot in the chest, and then there's the other dude at the gas station who got shot, but I'm not gonna go into that, but his story kind of got looked over because of his criminal past of what he was, I guess, a child molester or whatever, but like but I mean, like,
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, I can't remember his name right now because when I found that out too, it kind of made things confusing, But like, let's just take Eric Garner for instance. Him getting shot in the chest. So like, we witnessed somebody get shot and die on camera. So this, I wouldn't say this was more gruesome, but I think it was more. Every time we heard the excuse about how they were fearing for their life and whatnot. But this one, we seen people yelling at him. He can't breathe. He's bleeding out the nose. He's dying. We hear him screaming for his mom. We see all this going down. Then we see the cop casually on him, not giving a fuck. And it wasn't fear on his face. It was blunt disregard for this man's life,
But I think this could be even more like, I don't want to say graphic, but a little bit more ruthless than a shooting. Mm-hmm. Because shootings are, it's sad, but they're more common. Cops shooting a black person. Mm-hmm. But like this is like a choke. He just choked him to death, like basically. You know what I mean? He suffocated him to death, and he was already handcuffed. He was on his stomach. Like there was like literally no resistance. There's nothing that. There's nothing he could have done. You know what I mean? It's kind of just like like the way like an animal gets killed. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Not even that.
Like that. This image, like that. That image of him looking into the camera, with his knee on his neck, is just like a crazy image. And I think the image of it, the way it happened, is also like attributed to like the reaction. Mm-hmm. It's just a combination of that, all the recent killings in the last 10 years, people already kind of like riled up because of the quarantine. Yeah, and I think people just finally had enough, and were like, fuck it, like
yeah,
that's what it is like.
So I mean, like, I don't know. I'm trying to see if like would the reaction had been the same without the pandemic, and honestly, like I don't know if it would or not. I can't say.
No, I mean that's a good question. I don't know if it would or not either. To be honest. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. Mm-hmm. I don't know what that says about us.
That's what I was trying to think on too. Like as we were like, I was like, I don't even know if that's a good or bad thing. This incident like this would have just been another incident. You know, and then like well, I mean, I guess we're gonna talk about that in the other topics as far as like what do we think is gonna come from all this and whatnot.
Yeah, we'll get into that. I want to ask her. My boy Rowan said, "What?"
Should I keep this on? Cause nobody.
You can exit that one out.
Nobody's.
My boy Rowan asked, "What do you think about the Drew Brees comments?" So, like I texted you earlier. Mm-hmm. Did you look into that?
Yeah, I saw him.
Yeah. Drew Brees basically said today that he's against kneeling and disrespecting the flag. He looks at it. He looks at that as a form of disrespecting the flag, and a lot of people kind of went at him, right? Like Malcolm Jenkins, who was his teammate, released like a video, a response video where he's like, I basically like don't look at you the same anymore, and you're missing the point still, and you're somebody that I respected, and a few Aaron Rodgers posted something like his response to that, where he was saying that it's not the kneeling, it's not the kneeling part of it, that him and his teammates were they protested by locking arms, mm-hmm. and people still give him shit for that,
Mm-hmm.
So you're like basically saying Drew Brees is missing the point.
Yeah, he's missing the message behind it, and that's what I'm saying. It's like I don't understand how you could get, oh, these guys are saying they hate America and or they're going against our troops by when they say they're kneeling to end police brutality. Like, where in that, just in that statement alone, where in that alone is them saying they're against America? Because that type of America to where that's okay, that ain't what we're upholding. That ain't what we're supposed to be living by. You know, this is supposed to be the land of the free and equal for all. And so if your nation's not living up to that standard, like, I don't understand even to where you expect those who are being suppressed and oppressed underneath this nation could even show respect to something that's not happening, that's not to a false ideology, you know, like something that's not really being practiced and preached. You know, it's just a model to use, like that like where could they even find the respect in something that they're not really receiving? But regardless of that, they didn't say, oh, this is because we don't like America. They're saying this is because we're not getting those freedoms that were promised to us here in America, you know?
Yeah, like Junior and Rwan make a good point. LeBron also came out too. What Brees basically said was that, you know, his grandparents and, like, you know, his ancestors or whatever it may have been, but like, he has family that served in the military, so that's why he said what he said, and sees it as a form of disrespect. And you know, he didn't look at the issue that it's about. Like when Kaepernick kneeled, for whatever reason, people just took it as he's disrespecting the military, and, you know, which it's not something he ever said. Or just because you feel like that's disrespectful doesn't mean...
Vets even came out and said like that's not disrespectful. Like,
there's been people in the military that said that they're, you know, they don't find that disrespectful. So what Brees, I think what Brees messed up on, or what he's not getting, is that just because you feel is disrespectful doesn't mean that he should feel is disrespectful. He's not trying to say it's disrespectful. He's just that's his way of protesting. You don't have to agree with, like, you could have said, like, oh, okay, like, I would have preferred a different method, but you're missing the point. Like,
you didn't speak on the point. You speak simply on the fact that you don't like the way your nation is being disrespected, but you didn't speak on what, like, the issues that's actually going on within that nation. You know, you just you speak clearly over it, and it's almost like he avoided the topic, you know, by trying to make it about something else.
He basically said, like, I support, you know, the movement, but I'm not with disrespecting the flag. And it was never about that, man. It was never about that from the beginning. And it's kind of sad that still see, like, people not get that. Like, it's just about voicing your opinion, or voicing your, you know, your support, and showing that you're kneeling. Kaepernick kneeled to bring awareness and attention to police brutality and systematic racism. And Brees doesn't get that still, or at least he doesn't see it that way. He sees it as a disrespectful form of action that he took. And just because you think it was disrespectful doesn't mean everybody else should as well. Kaepernick didn't mean it as a form of disrespect to the military.
Well, how is him taking a knee not showing solidarity and wanting to improve our nation?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be interesting, man. He definitely strays in relationships in the locker room and with his teammates and other players around the league. It's it's people are so divided right now. So it's like
actually, what do you think is gonna go on with the NFL now? Because they're still starting. Do you think people are gonna be taking the knee still, or what? Like, you think it's gonna be more players taking a knee, or if they do, what do you think? How do you think the NFL is gonna respond to it?
If no changes have been made, yeah, like let's say the NFL season starts and those cops haven't been convicted of anything yet.
Mm-hmm.
They've been arrested, but there's they haven't been any, they still have to go to trial, whatever it may be. So if there's still like no convictions and no progress, if they feel there's still no progress, then I definitely think players are still going to protest during the game or take a knee or whatever it may be. I don't know, man. I mean, we still, that's a whole nother issue. If the NFL season is going to return at the same schedule it's supposed to.
Yeah. We
don't know what's going to happen with COVID still. So.
That's another thing though. Like, even with the conviction, man. To be real, if it's not a real conviction, like if they giving them something easy, like, honestly, I feel like they don't deserve the bare minimum, which.
I feel like they're gonna get a pretty good sentence because the backlash if they don't.
Yeah.
At this point,
I think it's gonna be crazy.
It's gonna be so crazy. Like, they don't want to cause further escalation, further rioting, looting, whatever it may be, because they're already, upgraded the murder from 3rd degree to 2nd degree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I saw that.
Yeah. So like. They obviously know that they have, like, this is they see how serious this is, man. Yeah. So, I think it's gonna be satisfying with the conviction. I do think like it's gonna be a conviction that satisfies people, but I don't think people are gonna be satisfied about the overall cause yet. I mean, I think it's not gonna stop there. This, it's not gonna be like, oh, he got convicted. He's in jail for life or whatever. We're happy. Everything's back to exactly. Yeah. It's not going to be like that. So it's there's definitely still going to be a lot of after effects and a lot. Did you see
the petition going around for like the 8 changes that need to be made? It's called. Actually, you want to bring this up too? I don't know, man. Damn, you down to one person too? But.
It's all good. We'll probably end the live soon.
Yeah, it's the 8 can't wait. So pretty much these are policies that they that want to help, that can decrease police violence by 72%.
Yeah,
and pretty much if you go to the petition, you can put whatever city you live in, your county, and see like which ones are already enacted and which ones still need to be enacted.
Yeah.
So you can go take a look at the 8. I did Riverside. So apparently we have 2 of them enacted, which is require warning before shooting and duty to intervene, which I'm not sure what that means. Like, duty to intervene, like I'm not even sure what that applies to. You feel me? Like, they have the text message bubbles here, so I'm not sure what that means. But yeah, if you go there, they're basically 8 policies that
yeah. I'm gonna end the live.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for joining the live. Those of you that did join, cool experience. Cool. Thank you for the feedback. For those of you that were active on here, Junior and Rowan. I see you guys, man. Thank you guys for the support. So, catch you guys on the next one. We're ending the live. Peace. Yeah. So, should we end this with let's talk about what you think the next steps are going to be. Let's just talk briefly about that. We don't have to spend that much time on it, but like what people can do, what the outcome is going to be after the all this is finished, the protesting, the aftermath of this. Do you think this is actually going to lead to some change, or are we just gonna kind of?
Man, I wanted to, but like I said, like the thing that had me say the thing that makes me think, okay, this could be a really good step forward and not just something we forget about.
Hold the mic. Too far away.
And then not just something that we forget about.
Yeah.
After a little while is the fact that it's during a pandemic, but like, what I want to see is I do want to see them get convicted, and I don't want them to get a minimum sentence like sentencing. I want them to actually serve time, justified time, in their conviction, and then in regards to like outside of that, like right now, like what I'm doing, just donating to some of these organizations to help the protesters who need bail money or court case money, and also signing some of the petitions to help others who had injustices happen to them, but like their voices aren't being heard and spotlighted in the media right now. So I'm signing a lot of those petitions, and then like everybody's been saying, like it comes down to it, like you got to look into your local government. So like don't we have some elections coming up?
November, yeah.
Yeah.
And, the elections in November is not just for the president.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think people just look at it like that. But yeah, I was listening to Obama gave us a speech today, and he said what things we can do to help help cause change and help the situation and actually do something like progress and change how things are going. And yes, city governments, local governments are a big part in police, man. I always go back to this show because it's so fucking good. The Wire. If you watch that fucking show, it shows you how the police system works. It shows you how how systematic and how it's all about like it's nothing have to do with like justice and it's just about, it's literally like almost any other job. Like you kiss somebody's ass to get to the top. You have each other's back. You don't fucking snitch on your cop coworker. Your boss has your back with shit. So and protects you from because you're police. You get protected. You can fuck up and beat up on anybody you want, and you're still gonna have your fucking job. And how the commissioner is in charge, oversees the police department, and is elected by the mayor, and how it's all about a numbers game. It's more about stats and how they look in the public eye, how they look in the media, than actual good police work. All this, it starts there. Thing,
too. It's like they don't really give a fuck how they look in media. In reality, is because look what goes down still. Look what we're still looking at and witnessing. And then like when we see protesters out there facing against cops, and you see some cops smirking about it, or you see some of them still going out of the way to do aggressive policing. It's like,
but they're protected. They're protected by it's a union. It's
yeah. But I'm saying like because the system itself is made up of like the policies made, right?
Yeah.
But it's the people who act within that system that need to change.
Yeah.
Because some of those policies, although they may be good for the community, if the way you're policing them isn't changed, if you're policing them in a manner that's targeted towards one group, where you enforce them and then you enforce it aggressively, like you're setting the example and you're setting the tone for the rest of the community. When they're out there in their riot gear, looking like they're ready for war, against people who are flexing their right to protest, you're setting the tone for all that. You're setting the tone of aggression, basically. Yeah. And your job is supposed to, and I hate when they use that term sometimes on police officers, the peacekeepers. Yeah. And they don't never really live up to that name, peacekeeper. Like your job is to de-escalate. You're the trained one. You're the professional. Your job is to make sure things stay without of that chaos, but still within letting people express their right, And like I'll give examples to like some of the officers who we saw who walked with the protesters versus put batons and faced off with them like it's some type of match that's about to begin. So
but when I say when I say they want to look good in the media, all these videos of them beating up on people are because another person with a phone was there to record them. This is not the news. That's what I mean. Like the news, the media, the national media, they want to look good in that aspect. But they just get caught at the wrong times is when you see some of this shit happen.
But even when it comes to the national media, we see a lot of these news outlets who don't actually show the full picture of what's going on out there. Like I saw one of the posts with MSNBC or whatever, where they showed they basically show the narrative that they want you to see without showing the full extent of the story, you know. And so in the post, you see a cop car where protesters were stopping from getting through, and then they say like these protesters are stopping the cops from getting to the looters and the rioters, right? But then if you see the full video, which is cell phone footage, not the same footage that the news media has, you see the cop car actually go and push through the protesters, you know?
Yeah.
So like they leave out that part. They make it seem like, oh, the protesters are stopping cops from doing their job and whatnot, and they're not showing that how like that's not the case at all. Some of them were just standing there protesting, and here comes this other cop car to come through and just bows right through them. They weren't like looting and throwing things up there, peacefully protesting, and then they got bows through like another cop car. So it's like, I don't know. I don't feel like we can fully trust these news outlets and them telling the actual story, because
no, that's not, yeah, I agree. They show the looting and shit. They show the bad shit. They're taking the shit off of the actual subject, but that makes the cops look good. That's what I'm saying. That they always go out of their way to make the cops look like they're heroes. Just doing and that's what the cops and care about is this whole system. The system is built to protect police when they fuck up. It's a job where you can kill somebody, you can beat on somebody and not get fired because you're protected, and it's a whole system where your coworkers are going to protect you too. This is why you never see other cops speak up publicly about somebody that killed somebody, or somebody that did a cop that did something. You never see other cops go out and speak up about it because they're going to defend their own brothers, I guess.
Well, I feel like we kind of do. This time we did. I mean,
they're starting to a little
exactly.
bit. Yeah,
we see a little bit of them speak up, but that's the thing. We're not seeing enough of them who claim to be good cops speak up against it. And I mean, I remember watching this short doc a few years back on it, and some of them, and they had all the cops voices censored and their images censored and stuff for protection. But like some of them were saying that like it's because it's fear of not having that backup when out there on the field from the rest of your fellow cops. Like when you speak up against something that is wrong, not right and whatnot. When you speak up against one of them, it's like they leave you out there. Leave you out there on your own. Leave you out there for the wolves or whatever.
Yeah, it's like a gang. Like if you like snitch on your if you're in a gang and you snitch on somebody, or
my thing is this: it's like if you realize who you in a gang with, like one of the cops that got exposed for being part of the KKK, like that's just one that got caught and exposed. So it's like if you realize who you in a gang with, maybe you do need to speak up against that, because then maybe you're speaking up against that. Not only will you find the other ones who agree with you, but you'll also get the backing of the people of, okay, so these are the guys we could probably trust to come police in our neighborhoods. These guys right here. And those are the guys who we got to keep out of our neighborhoods. The ones who we got to get out of that uniform, let alone keep out of the neighborhoods. And so like I don't know. I think them being silent isn't beneficial for fixing the relationship between police and black communities.
Yeah, and they've always been silent, and that's why nothing ever changes, because they're always going to defend each other and have their own back. Now with this though. This situation, I feel like the cops are speaking up more about the issues as well. That they're bringing it up that even though I am a cop, this is an issue, and I'm gonna support this issue. So it's happening now. It took to this moment for it to start happening more. But we're gonna need more of that. We're gonna need more cops to hold each other accountable when somebody fucks up. So that's why I think this time around, I do feel like this is gonna lead to some sort of revolution and change. I think this is very reminiscent of the LA riots in '92, back to the '60s and civil rights movement. It led to segregation being they getting going away, right? And
but what about the LA riots? What did it lead to if we're still rioting about the same thing today?
Well, I think this time around it is actually going to do something. I think the LA riots, because this is more nationwide, man. Like every fucking state has some sort of protest. Even overseas, you see like France and countries overseas do it now. So every 50 years or so, it's like there's a big event and a big change. I think we're gonna look at this
that you just can't ignore.
Yeah, we're gonna look at this time as this time in history where it's not gonna happen overnight. It's not gonna be like, all of a sudden next month, everything's good and all the bad cops are out or whatever it may be, and racism, police brutality, racism is gone. It's gonna take years, but I think this is gonna lead to it for sure. Now, I just the way people are acting now, the way people are angry and reacting the way they are, it's gonna lead to something. It's not gonna go away. It's gonna lead to some sort of reform and justice and some change, and it's gonna progress somewhere. It just won't happen right away, but it's gonna lead to something for sure. This is not just gonna go away. It's not gonna be forgotten about, at least not this time around.
First things happening though, they have to be convicted, and once that conviction happens, I think, because me, I really don't know. That's how unsure I am, because it's crazy too when people fear the repercussions of their government versus the government fearing the repercussions of the people.
Yeah,
that's insane to me, And so when you hear people talking about martial laws coming out, all this stuff like that, this shows you this is why it's a problem. The government is not the one with the power. The people have the power, and the people need to stand together and realize and notice that, look, all lives can't matter until Black Lives Matter too. And that's because I know we want to talk about the all lives matter thing, and I guess just real quick for the viewers who were wondering what's the whole protest behind that, Black Lives Matter isn't disregarding everybody else's life. When it comes to Black Lives Matter, we're saying Black lives are the ones that are under attack, and so you can't tell us that all lives matter when it's just one life that's being murdered, that's being taken over and over again, senselessly, and sometimes publicly executed. And so when we say Black Lives Matter, it's the two should already be there in your mind, we shouldn't have to put two at the end of that. You should, that's the whole point of this. You should get that, look, by this all happening continuously to happen, they're basically saying everybody's life matters, but there's an exception to one of those lives where, we could easily take out our gun and kill them, but we could make sure a school shooter who's killed dozens of innocent people and wouldn't who knows how many more if there wasn't for the intervention of the authorities, they can take them into the precinct for their trial and all that other stuff. But an unarmed black man who's cuffed and all that, he can't even make it to the precinct alive. There's a problem with that, and so that's why it isn't all lives matter that we're holding up and protesting. We're saying Black Lives Matter because it's Black lives that are being murdered without second guessing.
It's not even a complicated concept. Like, it's the simplest concept ever. So if you don't understand that, then like
it almost sounds like you're kind of choosing not to, right? Like for me, that's what it
Yeah.
sounds like. It's like that's what I'm saying. It's such a simple concept.
yeah,
It's like you're choosing to find a way to look past it, you know? Because it's like it's something that I don't understand how it could be oblivious to your understanding, you know?
it's like it's just racist still. Like it's just like
Yeah,
like
exactly.
like how do you confuse or how do you just bro like it's just it makes no sense to be like like all lives matter. Like no shit. Like yeah, no shit. We know that. Like we just want our lives to matter too. It's like I've seen like a lot of analogies. It's like one of the good. I posted this. I reposted this on Instagram. Is like saying all lives matter is like imagine your child died and you're at your eulogy, at at your child's eulogy speaking, and then somebody runs up to the stage, grabs a microphone and says all children matter actually.
Yeah,
That's like that's what
Exactly.
you're doing, like
yeah,
or like another good one I saw is like imagine like a house is on fire and then the firefighters come in and like not only water that house down but all the houses on the block because all houses matter.
Exactly. It's like that's what I'm saying.
It's not
like,
that complicated of a thing. So if you're really saying that, it's like you're either you're really dumb and don't get it, like you just don't fucking get it, or you're just like racist. You're just like.
And how many
fucking,
people do we believe really just can't get it? Versus they
yeah,
don't want to.
Yeah.
They
don't want to accept it.
Yeah,
they don't want to like
accept it. You know.
It's crazy, man.
And the only reason why I said it because I seen a few of those questions that seemed genuine because they weren't on posts made like know for their side, like they were on like they came to sides where like it was like big black influencers, not his name big black, like I'm saying like like these black influencers who are like got a real strong following. They just like what you're about to see on that content, you know. So they came over there and asked like, can I get an explanation on like why is it this? And so I'm thinking if you probably don't understand it, you gotta be at least still in high school or something like that. Like I can't picture a grown person understanding it. And even in high school I would think you'd understand that shit. But I'm just thinking like you have to be a childlike mind not to understand that, you know?
And most people I think are smart enough to I mean I don't know, maybe I'm giving people too much credit, but I think people get it, they just don't want to. They don't want to accept it because they still have this
that's what I think though,
and racism in them that they just don't want to like accept that these people are targeted. They don't want to acknowledge that these people are targeted. They think it's not real. They don't think black people are targeted still. And black people have been telling you this for years, for hundreds of years, and you just still don't believe them. You still think you're fucking lying. Like you're not discriminated against any differently than anybody else. You don't want to accept it.
You see the video, but then you still want the backstory. You're like, I know there's some wrong he did in there. I know there's something I can point out that he did wrong in there to justify. There's no way he's completely in it.
And even if he did do something wrong, you don't do that to
exactly. You don't have a public execution of the person. Exactly. You like they're not making it to trial. They're not making it to the That's what we're saying. Like it's easier for them to shoot an unarmed black man than a school shooter who's killing kids like that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Where is your life in danger at when the person's unarmed? Like where is the danger at there?
Yeah.
And an excuse itself can't be used because some of these people are running away from the cops. So it's like, how is your life in danger when they're running away from you?
Yeah. No. I mean, people still. It's sad, but people still think it's not a real thing. That it's all a myth, it's fake, it's not a real issue, and that's the sad thing, man. Where if you watch that video of George Floyd and your first reaction is, like what did he do, or like there's
or if your outrage didn't come until you seen buildings burning or
Yeah,
looting
exactly.
happened, like
Yeah.
that's when your voice came. That's when you became enraged. That's a problem. There's a problem in there because you know that there is a life taken in front of you that you knew that over. Oh, the arrest was over a supposed counterfeit bill at that.
Yeah.
Counterfeit. Like what the fuck? Like where in that situation does it cause for?
That type of aggression.
Yeah, that type of aggression. You know, like I don't know. I can't find the reasoning in their reason not to see what's really going on out here. I can't find the reasoning in that. So
fuck. I mean, it is what it is, and this is definitely not going away. Yeah, the George Floyd's passing sparked a uprising in this country that it's not gonna go away, and there's I mean it's been the last couple of days. It's been tough, man. I've had long time friends that I've stopped talking to, and it's because they don't see the inhumanity in this, and saying things like well he's dead, like what can you do about it, like what the fuck, dude, like that's
make
not
sure it doesn't happen
again.
exactly.
Exactly. It's to make sure this doesn't continue to happen over and over and over. And if you still don't see that, then I can't respect you anymore as a person. I can't be your friend anymore. I can't talk to you. If you think, like, if you watch that death, that murder, and you don't have any sort of like feelings towards it, there's something wrong with you. You know, like fuck all the politics, fuck the policies. If you're conservative or you're liberal, whatever, fuck that. Like it's just about like right or wrong.
Yeah, the righteousness.
Yeah,
of it all, like
good.
The fairness of it, like you said, the humane part of it.
Yeah.
Like, what is it? What type of feelings does that stir in you?
Yeah,
you know,
this is 400 years of oppression. When is it gonna like? They just want to. Black people just don't want to get treated equal. That's all they want.
And I'm just saying, we're not saying like every single black person is a saint.
Exactly.
We're just saying they deserve to make it to the trial. That's all I'm saying. They deserve to make it to the trial, just like anybody else.
George Floyd deserved to not die because of a counterfeit check. You know what I mean? Like even if it was a counterfeit check, you don't deserve to die. That doesn't happen to a white person.
No,
it just doesn't. It's crazy, man. It's crazy that some people still don't see that.
Yeah, it's really unbelievable when you say it out loud. Or counterfeit, like what?
Yeah. And there's stories that he was high, whatever. Fuck it. Like, even if you're high, like you don't deserve to die like that. It's like that too. Like and getting a knee to your neck for 9 minutes. Like what the fuck is wrong with you? Like
imagine a child rapist getting prison time, and a man who had a counterfeit 20 got sentenced to death.
Yeah.
Just that alone, where is the logic in that alone?
Yeah, it's as simple as like seeing how these white kids that murdered people shoot up schools or concerts, clubs, and they get peacefully arrested and sent to trial, and they don't get blasted by the police. But
even the type of arrest that they go through is different. Like you're not gonna see. You more likely would see a knee. Like I think Trevor Noah did say it best. Like the only reason why this was that shocking too, not because of all the steps that led up to like the brutality of it all, him having a knee on his neck and all that stuff, is because he actually died. It took him dying for this to cause a reaction, not this the actual brutality of itself. It took execution for somebody to actually feel something with it. So because I mean, even if he didn't die, just certain rights
Well, think about how they weren't gonna do shit. They only arrested them because of the pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Just think about they were gonna get away with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like if there was never a video, they would have got just what like Ahmad, yeah, just like Ahmad's. If there was never a video, and that was like 2 months later, you know.
Yeah, exactly. 2 months later.
It's just crazy.
And it took pressure for them to get arrested.
It makes you think of like how many
get away with it.
Yeah, but like in all like before like smartphones, how many black people got murdered the same way that these, you know, like George Floyd got murdered and all that, and throughout history, just think about how many murders like this have had to happen in the past.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's what I'm saying. Like even the close to the tipping point, they're like this is a build up from all that to now.
Yeah.
And like the dude who did that series on the Hells Angels, he said the worst beatings he's seen weren't even from them. It was from police. It was like the worst beatings that he's seen were given out the cops, you know, doing their own thing. So this is what we're saying. Like this has to stop. You're not allowed to overstep your authority and abuse your power, especially when you're in a position to where most likely that the people who you are abusing it to can't fight back. They can't do nothing back to you because you have that badge protecting you. You know. And it's your word versus theirs, you know. So it's like, if relationships is going to change in this community and in regards to police being able to police in minority areas, black areas especially, without situations like this happening, they have to be the ones to set that tone of peace, and they have to change the way they're policing, you know. And if they refuse to do that, it is up to us to go in and get those people out and put those people in who will hand out those repercussions that need to be handed out. So that's pretty much all I gotta say.
I mean, I think we'll leave it there. Good stuff, good conversation about this whole terrible situation and just about what's going on in America right now. We hardly ever talk about topics this heavy, so bear with us on this one. And we're definitely working on getting better, and you know, this has taught us to also just be more knowledgeable and aware and do our part, you know, to just learn and educate ourselves about you know, different policies and politics and just I think one thing I want to touch on real quick is I feel like a lot of young people are starting to wake up to this, you know, this whole system, this whole situation, and I feel like a lot of young people are getting a lot more involved.
It's thrown in their faces, like with social media, it's thrown in their faces more so than it was, like, you know, and younger generations and like ours, like, you know, like,
because a lot, you know, we'll be real, we'll be straight up, you know, a lot of us millennials oftentimes don't pay attention to politics and to what's really going on, you know. And I just being on social media, being on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and all that, I see so many more young people wanting to finally learn, wanting to educate themselves more than ever, and that's just great to see. It's great to see us wanting to actually, you know, learn and be a part of something and educate ourselves and be aware for once, you know, and not just worried about the gram and worried about, you know, likes and worried about shit that only affects us, you know,
self gratitude,
you know, and not worrying about ourselves, that we're all like uniting together and fighting towards a bigger cause, you know. So that's just great to see, and I think that's very important to touch on. You know, we see you guys out there doing what you're doing, so
Yeah, shout out to everybody who's speaking up on this.
Yeah.
Especially like a lot of those some of these big these white social influencers who are using their platform to speak to, you know, their people on it as well, you know.
Yeah.
I think that's important, you know. When you got a platform like you do, you know, regardless or not, if they're gonna, if it's something controversial, you know, when it's unjust and then when it's wrong, you know, to use your platform in that way is it just shows a true way to reach that unitedness for all, you know.
Yeah.
And that freedom.
Definitely. So we'll end it here. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. We'll see what this leads to, and what ends up happening in the aftermath of these riots. Everybody keep on supporting, donate, do your research, you know, look into local governments and you know, register to vote, you know, make a change, and just, you know, just be, you know, do your part, you know. And I do feel this is not going to end anytime soon. We're all going to continue to do our part and do something about this. You know, it's not going to happen overnight. We're not going to wake up tomorrow and all of a sudden racism is dead and, you know, everything's fine and dandy. But as long as we continue to make progress and like continue to do our part, I do think a change is going to come. So yeah, we'll leave it there.
R.I.P. George Floyd.
R.I.P. George Floyd. R.I.P. all the other Black lives that have gone down because of police brutality over the course of these last several years. So yeah. All right.
Thank you guys. Stay safe. And may the revolution live on.
Peace.